Everybody, I hope everybody is having a magnificent evening. I hope that you are that your day was spry. I hope it was wonderful. I'm down here, get ready to go to the school. I gotta work on some things at my school. Willie, man, it's good to see you, man. It's been a minute, but I don't have I don't have a lot of time. I wanted to talk about. Everybody has been asking my opinion on the whole Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna thing. So I try to refrain from giving my opinion because it's so some of my thoughts are so outlandish. But I'm gonna get to it. So just to bring people up to speed who's not familiar, Rob Kardashian and Blac Chyna, they got married. Robert Kardashian happens to be Kim Kardashian and Khloe Kardashian and Kendall Jenner's brother. Blac Chyna is Tigger's baby's mother. And people have asked my opinion. And so what happened was, she cheated on him. He started flipping out. Amber, she started flipping out and posting pictures and things of that nature. And the question on many minds is, how did it get to that? How did it get to that? And I guess we can marry the two, because typically we have Saturday. Typically on Friday we have dating relationship days. But let's talk about it. And so it got to that. First off, oftentimes we find people who date. They pick up people, specific people, because it makes them feel good about themselves. So they go into a relationship empty, and they use that person as a pawn to make them feel good about themselves, as it is with Blac Chyna and Rob Kardashian. You have an empty man who has no kind of star power, and all of his sisters, they have star power. He has no kind of talent. What's up, Mont? He has no kind of talent. He's living off of the fame of his sisters, and so he feels incomplete. And it's such a dangerous thing to date a man or an empty person, not so much as a man, an empty person, because they'll use you to fill them up. Let me give it to you again. It's always dangerous to date an empty person. Empty meaning that they don't feel good about themselves, that the people that surround them are successful, or the people that surround them is doing something, but they are not. They don't have any a foundation or anything to stand on within themselves, meaning that their character. It's a dangerous thing. That's why it's always good. It's always good to take a self-inventory of yourself. What is it about you? What do you like? What don't you like? Because if you enter into a relationship where you don't feel good about yourself, then your goose is cooked. And so you have an empty man who's desperate, who wants to feel significant, who wants to feel like he's doing something, who wants to feel as if who wants somebody to make him feel like a man. And to have somebody, it's a dangerous thing to have somebody that wants to date a man, for all the women, and they need you to make them feel like a man. And so here he is, he's empty, vulnerable, doesn't feel good about himself. He's a little heavy, she's sexy, she's a stripper, she's been around the block, and he violates and he dates her knowing that his sister dated, listen to this, knowing that his sister boyfriend has a baby by. He's desperate. He wants to feel significant. You hear me? And then you have Blac Chyna, who's on the come up. Are you hearing me? She's on the come up. This is significant. Listen to this. Because she's on the come up. She's looking for somebody for money. She's never really had anything. She's only known money. She has a greed, and she's willing to make herself. She's willing to throw herself out there to get the number one, get the attention, but most importantly, get the stability. This is key, because whenever you date somebody who's not financially stable, who's willing to be a character and step outside of it, willing to be a character and not have character, then you make yourself vulnerable to be their pawn. Let me give it to you again. She doesn't have a foot to stand on. The guy that she has a baby by is broke. He keeps getting his cars towed and repoed and so on and so forth. So she's a stripper. So she's used to being used. Did you hear what I said? She's used to being used. She's used to being toyed around with, so on and so forth. And now she's entering into a relationship with somebody who's empty. So you have somebody who's on the come up, looking to be a leech on somebody, and then you have somebody that's empty that wants to be just as significant as the people in there in the relationship. And you have two, in other words, you have two half people trying to make a whole. Let me give it to you. You have two half people trying to make a whole. And so here she is. She tames them, just like Samson. And for those of us that don't know, if you ever get a chance, I implore you to go read the Samson and Delilah story. Samson was looking for somebody just to make him feel like a man. But before he was dating Delilah, he saw somebody else, a Moabite woman, and he needed her. So he was so desperate. Out of all of the women out there, he was so desperate that he told his mother, "Go get her, because I want her." The same thing we had with Rob Kardashian. He's empty, vulnerable, heavyset, doesn't feel good about himself. You have to start to feel good about who you are before you will enter into a relationship, because guess what? You'll be codependent on somebody else making you significant. And then you become their puppet. And so now he has a baby by a leech. And no disrespect to her, much respect to her, by a leech. Because guess what she's doing now? She's sleeping with multiple men. Got the text messages, got the naked pictures, the guy told. She's sleeping with multiple men. Why? Because the man that she is leeching off of doesn't have what it takes to satisfy her. So now she has so now she has to go all around the mulberry bush. That's why it's important to date from a spiritual and mental and psychological perspective. Because when you date somebody who spiritually and psychologically is fulfilling, where the physical is absent, the spiritual is present. Did you hear that? Let me go ahead, because my battery's about to go dead. We're going to finish this because I got to dig a little deep into it. But let me leave you with this before we go into our part 2. It's always significant to date mentally and spiritually before you even take it to the physical. Give me a second. I'll be right back with you. Let me charge up.